Okay, welcome back to another Too Tall Toby example. Today we are doing the tree stand from December 8th, 2024. All right, so let's jump right on in. We're going to get that center cylinder dragged out and set to a 32 diameter and a 155 tall. Now we also know that this cylinder is hollow, so we're going to drag out a through cut, snap into that center point, and setting that interior radius at 26. Now we can add the bolt holes on the front face. So we're just going to hit F key to get to the front and drag another through cut cylinder out onto this quadrant point. Except the bolt holes have to go across the top. So we're going to lock this axis, left click drag, 90 enter to get that cylinder all the way out to the top. We also know the center of these bolt holes are 8 down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hit spacebar to get our TriBall into positioning mode and shift snap to this edge to lock it into the center. And then we're going to right click drag link here, and we only need one of them at 90 degrees since it's a through cylinder. And since they're linked, when we set the diameters by clicking on one of these outside handles and we set it to 6.6, they'll both change at the same time. Now I'm going to shift left click drag a center so it snaps to the middle. And we're going to make those feet, which are 12 millimeter solid at 40 millimeter high. Next, we're going to activate the TriBall, and we're going to snap it down to the bottom of our central base. This is mainly because we know that the foot is going to be 20 millimeters from the bottom. Then we know the center to center diameter is 408, so I'm going to left click drag out a radius of 204. Hit enter. Okay, now we have our foot. So we're going to do a sweep now to get it back, to get that sweeped edge all the way back to that center cylinder. Start our sweep command, choose the only part of the scene, and we're going to create that guide curve. Shrinking the view so that way all those grid lines are nice and symmetric. And we want it to be normal to this face. All right, so we know that the inside radius of that sweep needs to be at 30 millimeters. So after creating that little construction point, we need to go from the center. And to get that inside of 30 millimeters, we're going to right click and do a central radius of 36 because that's the radius of our foot. Boom. Okay, now we just need to do a tangent line, left clicking on the circle, and right clicking out anywhere in space. And we're going to set our angle to be 22 degrees, doing the subtraction just because we're upside down. And we know that we're going to be somewhere around 210 millimeters towards the middle of the base, just because we're close to that 204 on the bottom. Hit OK. Now we're just going to trim off this outside excess and hit finish. Once that's done, now all we have to do is select our top face because it's the same diameter and finish out the sweep. Bam. Nice sweep out that way. Okay. Now we're going to set up the foot for later, but we are going to get here and drag out our foot cylinder to this center point. And we know that this one is actually 6 millimeters solid. And then we also know that it's going to be angled towards the center as well. So we're going to turn on the TriBall, left click drag 90 degrees. And then we also know that this bottom support is 15 millimeters from the bottom of this cylinder to the bottom of the foot. And we have a 6 millimeter diameter base, so that means we need to drag up 18 millimeters. Now we're 15 from the bottom, edge to edge. Okay, and we're going to set that angle a little bit later. Because what we're going to do now is we're going to shift select both of these features by clicking Alt and then holding Shift to get both. And then we're going to turn on the TriBall. And we're going to do that so we can hit spacebar and move it into positioning mode and shift drag to this edge to snap it in place. If I actually hold Shift instead of Control. Okay, so now that we have both of these, we're going to right click drag and we're going to link copy here. Once again, 90. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to set the angles of our 2 feet by turning on the TriBall once again. And we know that this is this is going to be the long side, the tall side support. So now we know that this angle is 5 degrees. And we know that this angle over here, clicking Alt, is going to be at 8 degrees. Going up 8 degrees. Got that on the same part almost both times. Awesome. And since those were linked, what we can do is that when we drag these shapes to the center to change their length, they both will update and go straight through. And I'm going to hit my left side view here, make sure I'm not sticking out the other way, and we're good to go. Now I just have to do the support sweep for this left face. So I'm going to start my sweep command again, click on my part, and add another guide curve. Now this time, when I choose normal to the face, IronCAD's going to try to remember that original plane that we made at the beginning, because normally you're making all these sketches on the same side when you're doing them back to back. But in this case, let's say I needed it to face towards the middle. That's okay. So once again, I can activate my TriBall and just rotate that around 90 degrees and hit F7 to snap to this front edge face. Now I can just do the same thing that I did last time, giving myself a quick little construction curve, and then adding a 2-point center radius by right-clicking to finish and typing in 36. Except this time our tangent line is at 18 degrees because this is the short side. Right-clicking out in space, doing my upside down math at 180 minus 18. And we know this one's about 200 millimeters to the center again. Gonna trim this off, hit finish, and once again choose our top sweep tab. Hit our top sweep like section right there of the top of our foot. Boom. All right, now we have both of these feet that are going in and we just need to copy them. So I'm gonna click Alt and hold Shift, and I'm gonna select all the features that I wanna copy, which is both of these legs. Activate my TriBall, and just to make sure, I'm just gonna snap it back to this center, which it already was there, luckily. And now I'm just gonna right-click, drag, and let go, copy here, 180 degrees this time because it's both feet, and we get our copy, nice and fast. Now, we would almost be done, but something that we did is since we started with the center, all of these feet and all these supports stick straight through the center of our main tree support, which is not supposed to happen. But this is an easy fix, luckily, because we can go to our scene browser, highlight that original H cylinder, and just change the order that it was made all the way down to the bottom, and it will cut through everybody. And now our tree stand is done, looks all nice. So we're going to right click, go to Part Properties, go to that material, and you'll see that we have that correct mass of 1404. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next video.